And the very last bonus tip, if you like to get better with drone shots. Sound speed, camera speed, and action! Welcome to another Create Greg video. My name is Greg and in today's episode we will talk about 5 tips how to make your drone footage look more cinematic. Last week I decided to post my drone video montage and I got a lot of positive feedback, so me and my creative ego got boosted. Appreciate that. But what's even more important, I got asked several questions how I got certain result, how I achieved certain look. So I thought, what can be better than sharing my 5 tips how to get your drone footage stand out from the crowd. Without further ado, let's dive into number 1, which is shoot 30 frames per second. You can ask why, Greg, if you want to get that cinematic look, you need to shoot 24 frames per second. Yes, that's true, but with the drone I got a bit of different approach. Let's talk about the high frame rates in general. Most of the drones are not capable to shoot high frame rates. Even if you got that option to choose from, your footage would mostly fall apart. You will get a lot of noise or unwanted artifacts. When you think about shooting drone footage, you shoot from perspective, so when you see moving objects on the landscape, shooting in slow motion is pointless because at the end of the day you will need to speed up your footage in post-production. So why not to shoot 24 frames per second? If you shoot 30 and you slow down by 80% to 24 frames per second to eliminate micro jitters, which are caused by camera movement and shooting 24 frames per second. Because we slow down by 20%, it will not have effect on our visual storytelling because we fly on such a high altitude and see everything from perspective. So the slow motion is not noticeable, but the smooth footage you will get in return is definitely worth it. But there will be moments in time when you need to shoot 24 frames per second. Of course, you can go for that, but most of the time 30 frames per second and slow down in post-production to 24 will definitely do the job. Number 2 will be shoot at golden hour. It doesn't apply just only to drone, to pretty much every single shoot. If you are capable to shoot at golden hour, namely 1 hour before the sunset and 1 hour after sunrise, when you get the most pleasing and beautiful light. With drone footage, when you do the top-down shoot and you see everything from the eagle perspective, when you shoot at the golden hour, you've got this nice long shadow, which is very epic. The light itself at the golden hour is very pleasing. Comparing to shooting in the middle of the day, which everything is evenly lit and kind of boring. Choosing golden hour make a huge difference and leads us to a sub point, namely plan your shooting in advance. Instead of going randomly and trying to capture any footage which might work, might not work, thinking where you want to go, scouting the location, or taking into consideration golden hour time to get your footage, this single state of mind will improve your footage dramatically. Let's talk about number 3, which is moving objects within the frame. When I'm thinking about the drone footage, I'm thinking like beautiful landscapes or wide shots. But what instead of shooting just only beautiful bridge, we'll try to capture train going through that bridge? What if we try to shoot a beautiful landscape in Highlands in Scotland and we have the car moving through the road to make our shot more interesting? What instead of just only capturing sunrise, we'll have a couple running at that sunrise? What if instead of capturing just only beautiful harbor in Oban, we will wait for the ferry going into that harbor to make even more interesting shot? I know it's very hard to plan this kind of stuff, but when you try to pay attention to moving vehicles, people or object into frames, which help you to motivate your drone movement, which is very cinematic and allow to bring your footage to life, but paying attention to the small details. 4 elements, and I believe is the most important to allow you to stand out from the crowd, is to use your drone in different planes. What I mean by that, when you fly your drone and try to capture footage, most of the people will try to go like, back and forth or going left to right, trying to pan. First of all, when you're trying to pan your camera left and right, your footage would look like CCTV, which right off the bat is boring. But if you fly your drone, think about complex movement. For instance, instead of going forward and backward, which we established is boring, how about going left while doing yaw to the right, while going up and then tilting your camera down? And if you can do that movement by following object within the frame, you will get this beautiful standing out shot, which will set you apart right off the bat. I know this movement can be very complex, but this is when the training comes in place. The more you fly your drone and practice this complex movement, the better you become at it. And from time to time, when everything aligns, the movement with what's going into frame, you can capture the stunning shot. Even if you decide to do reverse flying while doing yaw or side to side movement and revealing your footage, unexpected things may happen, which actually took place when I was shooting at the lighthouse in Edinburgh. While doing this movement, a seagull flew in front of the camera and tried to follow the drone for a couple of seconds, which gave me this amazing shot. For everyone who's been asking how I managed to composite that shot, the answer is there is no keying, no composition, no green screen, nothing at all. It was pure luck, but I got to it because I decided to use unusual movements. And the last fifth tip will be use ND filters. The same applied to your camera, so to follow 180-degree rule, to have that smooth motion blur which you get used to see on the screen, you have to be sure that your shutter speed is the double of your frame rate. So if you shoot 30 frames per second, our shutter speed is supposed to be 1/60th of the second. I'm not going to dive into how to use or calculate ND filters. I've done a video about this, I will leave them down in the description, and this is how we arrive at the end of this video. If you are into learning filmmaking and you enjoy this kind of episode, feel more than welcome to subscribe. I would appreciate that. If you didn't like it at all, I'm puzzled that you got to that point, but next week I'm going to shoot another video, so come back and decide whether you like it or not. Guys, thank you very much, and until next one. And the very last bonus tip, if you like to get better with drone shots, just go out and create. Take your drone out and practice, and through that practice, you will find that you can capture some cool shots. So yeah, that will be all for today. Guys, thank you for staying with me, and until the next one.